The crystalline spires of Drakenheim pierced the violet sky like frozen lightning, their surfaces reflecting the twin suns that hung over the dragon homeworld. Princess Jessica, heir to the Crimson Throne and bearer of scales that shimmered like rubies in starlight, stood at the edge of the royal landing platform with tears streaming down her elongated snout. "My wings don't work," she cried, her voice carrying the harmonic resonance that all draconic species possessed. Her magnificent wings, each spanning 30 feet when fully extended, hung limp and unresponsive at her sides. The membrane between the bones that should have caught the wind and lifted her into the sky remained slack, refusing to obey her desperate mental commands. The imperial physicians had examined her for weeks. They had consulted ancient texts, performed elaborate rituals, and even attempted experimental biomantic procedures. Nothing worked. The diagnosis was always the same: neural pathway degradation, a rare condition that severed the connection between a dragon's brain and their flight muscles. For a species that had ruled the skies for 10,000 years, it was a death sentence to everything that made life worth living. Jack wiped the grease from his hands onto his already stained coveralls and approached the platform. He was a human, one of the newest species to achieve interstellar travel and, frankly, still considered somewhat primitive by most of the galactic community. His species hadn't evolved wings, hadn't developed natural armor, and couldn't breathe fire. They were, by all accounts, unremarkable. Except for one thing. Humans were the best damn problem solvers in the galaxy. "Your Highness," Jack said, bowing slightly as protocol demanded. "I'm Jack Morrison, the maintenance chief from the human embassy. I heard about your condition, and I think I might be able to help." Jessica turned her massive head toward him, her golden eyes reflecting both hope and skepticism. "You, a human? The imperial physicians are the finest medical minds in the quadrant. What could you possibly offer that they cannot?" Jack smiled, and it was the kind of smile that had preceded every great human achievement, from the first moon landing to the invention of the slip space drive. It was the smile of someone who saw a problem not as an impossibility, but as a puzzle waiting to be solved. "They're trying to fix your biology," Jack said. "I'm thinking we engineer around it." 3 days later, Jack stood in his workshop at the human embassy, surrounded by holographic displays, neural mapping equipment, and more coffee cups than was probably healthy. Jessica lay on a reinforced platform designed to support her considerable weight, her wings spread wide for examination. "The neural pathways are dead," Jack explained, highlighting the problem areas on a 3-dimensional scan of her wing structure. "But the muscles themselves are fine. You just can't send the signal to activate them, so we don't try to fix the pathways. We build new ones." "New neural pathways?" Jessica asked, her scientific curiosity overriding her royal dignity. "That's impossible. Neural tissue doesn't regenerate in that way." "Not biological pathways," Jack corrected, pulling up a schematic that made Jessica's eyes widen. "Synthetic ones. Nanofiber neural bridges. We'll create an external control system that interfaces directly with your brain and bypasses the damaged pathways entirely. Think of it as prosthetic nerves." The dragon princess stared at the design. It was elegant in its simplicity, yet represented a level of bioengineering sophistication that her people had never considered. Dragons had always relied on their natural abilities. The concept of augmentation, of improving upon what evolution had given them, was almost heretical. "This is madness," she whispered, but there was wonder in her voice. "This is humanity," Jack replied. "We've been doing this sort of thing for centuries. We don't wait for evolution to catch up. We adapt, we modify, we overcome." The procedure took 16 hours. Jack worked alongside Jessica's personal physicians, who watched in fascination as the human installed microscopic neural bridges at key points along her wing structure. Each nanofiber was thinner than a dragon's whisker, but stronger than steel, capable of transmitting electrical signals with near-perfect efficiency. The real innovation was the interface, a small implant at the base of Jessica's skull that would translate her mental commands into signals the synthetic pathways could understand. It was technology that humanity had developed for their own disabled and wounded, adapted now for an entirely different species. When Jessica finally woke from the anesthesia, the first thing she felt was a tingling sensation in her wings. It was faint at first, like a limb waking up from being asleep too long. Then it grew stronger. "Try to move them," Jack encouraged, monitoring the neural feedback on his handheld scanner. Start small, just a twitch. Jessica concentrated, sending the mental command that she had sent 10,000 times before, always to silence and stillness. This time her wings responded. First the left, then the right. Small movements, but unmistakable. By the eternal flame, she breathed. I can feel them. Over the next week, Jessica relearned to fly. The synthetic pathways responded faster than her original nerves had, requiring her to recalibrate her instincts. Jack was there every day, adjusting settings, fine-tuning responses, and offering encouragement when frustration made her want to give up. Finally, on the 8th day, Jessica stood once more at the edge of the royal landing platform. The entire court had gathered to witness what many believed would be a dignified failure. Dragons did not accept failure gracefully, but they respected courage. Jessica spread her wings wide, feeling the muscles respond with perfect precision. She could sense every membrane, every bone, every scale, all connected through the miracle of human ingenuity. She didn't hesitate. She leapt. For a single terrifying moment she fell, then her wings caught the air, the synthetic pathways firing in perfect synchronization, and she soared upward. Higher and higher she climbed, performing loops and spirals that she hadn't been able to achieve even before her condition. The enhanced neural response time made her faster, more agile, more precise. The crowd below erupted in cheers, a sound rarely heard in the dignified halls of Drakenheim. When Jessica finally landed, she found Jack standing quietly at the edge of the platform, packing his tools. She approached him, lowering her massive head to his level. "You gave me back my sky," she said softly. "How can I ever repay such a gift?" Jack shrugged, that same problem-solver's smile on his face. "Just remember this the next time someone tells you humans are primitive. We might not have evolved wings, but we sure as hell know how to build them when we need to." As Jack walked away, Jessica looked up at the sky. Her sky reclaimed not through ancient magic or divine intervention, but through human persistence, creativity, and the simple refusal to accept that any problem was truly unsolvable. That was humanity's gift to the galaxy, the audacity to look at the impossible and see only an engineering challenge. And somewhere in the distance, another dragon watched with wings that no longer worked, and hope began to kindle in their heart.